to come. Talk to your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Penn Mutual, trusted for life. It's 12:03. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
This is the Gashouse Gang on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1120 AM, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Rocking the bat back and forth, chokes the bat a couple of inches, and there's a ground ball to the first baseman, Alonso. He takes it to the bag, and this ball game has come to an end. Gorman grounds out. The Cardinals strand Arenado. The Mets win round one of this four-game series, 4-1.
So the Cardinals begin the series against the Mets in New York with a loss. Still 3 games to go. Tonight they're going to play at 5:15. Well, that's the pregame show with Matt Pauley at 5:15. And the first pitch will be at 6:10. Miles Michaelis will have that. This is the Gashouse Gang, and Kevin Wheeler is in today. Mike Claiborne usually hangs out on Fridays, but we got Wheels with me, Chris Ranji. We're here with you until 1 o'clock. We've got...
You got the B team.
No, come on, dude. The CEO, chairman of the Blues, Tom Stillman, is going to join the show coming up here at 10:15. We'll have John Rooney at 12:15, and then at 12:30, John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, will talk to us. Kevin, all right, the Cardinals team right now is a game under 500.
Mm-hmm.
They've kind of been floating with 500, back under 500, right around here. I guess I don't know if you said 3 weeks into the season, what's the team going to look like? At least in terms of results, this feels about right.
It does, especially because this is not an easy schedule in the month of April, right? I mean, you just finished up with playing in Boston, which, look, Boston's really good, and they showed you. They smacked you around a little bit, but you opened with a team. Now, Minnesota hasn't been good, but you opened with a team that was expected to be a contender in their division. You had Boston not long after that. You had Philadelphia, and then Houston. Those are both teams viewed as contenders. Philly's probably one of the top 3 or 4 teams, 5 teams in Major League Baseball. So yeah, if I looked at it this way, and I looked at this game against the Mets, and then you got the Braves after this, I would have said around 500 at the end of April, and we're not there yet. But if you get to the end of that series against Milwaukee later on this month, and you're around 500, it's not the end of the world, man, because that's a tough schedule out of the gate.
Yeah, season is 3 weeks in, so I don't know. You can't learn a ton about your team, and I'm not convinced about all of the aspects of it. I'm not convinced about the rotation, even though it looks right now pretty steady. They're doing okay. They're keeping them in ball games. They're throwing a decent amount of innings. They're about 10th in baseball in terms of innings.
Time and a half through, yeah.
Well, they've raised that right. Innings, which I think is a very big deal. I keep bringing it up, but I think it matters a lot because it helps the bullpen in a big, big way, especially if you're going to a 6-man deal. You need to give the bullpen. You got to give them innings because you're down a man in the pen. So you're going to have to do that. I've been encouraged by that. I've been encouraged by the offense. They're in a lot of the statistical categories. They look pretty good, like top 6 or 7.
Yep.
They're not striking out very much this year. One thing I would like to see go up, and we talked about this with Rob Raines during the Chris and Amy show. I want to see him hit for more power. They're about average in baseball right now.
Yeah.
And look, I know there are multiple ways to win ball games, but the bulk of the teams that end up in the playoff race at the end of the year, they all have good pitching, but they also hit for power. Most of them, not all of them, but like the vast majority of them do. So I want to see those power numbers go up.
Yeah, a lot of that's going to be Wilson Contreras, right? I mean,
it has to be.
Your best hitter hasn't been good, and yet this is kind of when you're evaluating it this time of year. It's incomplete information. But if you had told me that Wilson Contreras would be hitting the way that he has, if he was going to be hitting a $139 with a 417 OPS on this date, I would have thought the record's probably worse. But the good news is some other guys have stepped up, right? I mean, Brendan Donovan's hitting almost 400. Lars Nootbaar's had a really strong start to the season. We didn't know that Ivan Herrera was going to hit like that.
Right.
And obviously now he's been out for a week and a half. So hopefully he'll get back and he can provide some of that power too. And I don't think there's anything weird going on with Contreras. He's just off to a slow start. You can tell he's not recognizing spin at all. And he's swinging at breaking balls that he shouldn't be swinging at. He's taking fastballs because he's getting fooled on them. He'll figure it out. He's too good for too long to be like this for a long time.
Yeah, that's the thing about him. I know that, some baseball fans, and I get it. That's just part of being a fan, is that you get a little concerned about guys. And, we've had somebody yesterday, which, by the way, you can check in on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, send us a comment, send us a question. Of course, you could text us at 314-436-7900. The Odyssey app, drop us a voice message from that. You could do that. And we had a texter yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago, who was concerned about Contreras and wondering if we're seeing a decline. The answer to me, unless he's hurt, absolutely not. Contreras is not declining. It's a bad start for him. And if there's anybody offensively on the team I'm not worried about, that when we get to the end of the year, I know his numbers are going to look right, it's Wilson Contreras.
Yeah.
I'm just not at all worried about him.
If you're talking about decline, right, and this is why, first of all, you're not going to know that in 2.5 weeks. You're just not going to be able to see a decline in 2.5 weeks.
Right.
It's not possible to know in that amount of time. But if you're looking at decline, what you're looking at is physical aspects, right? So the first thing you're going to look at for a hitter is whether or not their bat speed is slowed down. And Wilson Contreras' bat speed ranks in the top 4% in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
So the bat speed has not changed. What has changed is he's chasing, right? He normally doesn't chase the way that he does. So what it's doing is leading to more swing and miss. It's leading to him being behind in counts when he shouldn't be behind in counts, and he's not getting himself into counts where he can do the damage that he normally does. As soon as his pitch recognition and his swing decisions improve, the bat speed shows that the power's there. All he's got to do is stop swinging at pitches he can't hit, which is not easy. Look, conceptually, that's really easy, as we've seen with all kinds of guys that are slumping around major. Juan Soto's slumping. Juan Soto is at about 60% of what he normally is right now.
And he will hit.
He will. He'll be an all-star. He'll be an MVP candidate. He
said the thing the other day about it's a lot different not being in a lineup with Aaron Judge, which,
listen,
he thinks he's getting pitched differently, which he might be,
sure.
But by the end of the year, he's going to hit.
Yeah, but it's also, for him, his greatest strength is what we just talked about with Contreras. He doesn't swing at pitches that he can't do anything with, and he's doing it more now. And look, how many times have we seen this? And it's always temporary, where a guy gets to a new place and they're just trying too hard.
Right.
He just got a huge contract. He went from the Mets to the Yankees. He's human. So yeah, he's trying to do more than he probably should be trying to do at the moment. So yeah, I don't think we need to worry about veteran players that are off the slow starts, whether it's a Cardinal player or not. And I always recommend this to people, Ron, and I guarantee you're going to agree. Watch more baseball outside of your own teme.
Oh, yeah.
Because
totally.
when you do you have the perspective that there are good players struggling all over the place.
Yeah. So it's just a guy I'm just not worried about him at all. Kelly has checked in on Facebook and says, agreed, we're playing well for those who were playing, or for the teams who were playing. Just need Wynn and Herrera back. Other than Michaelis, pitching is good, not great yet. I guess that's all about right. And Michaelis is going to get the start tonight. Yeah. I still don't know exactly how I feel about him. I don't have a ton of confidence in what he's going to be long-term for the season. But as long as they can get something out of him, just take what you can get and then see what happens.
I mean, what we're seeing and what's concerning about him isn't the first 3 starts. It's the fact that that's connected to the last 2 seasons where you've had, I think, the 3rd worst ERA in Major League Baseball amongst qualified pitchers.
Yeah.
Right. So the concern is the buildup over a number of years. What you're hoping for, like if I were going to say, what do I hope for Miles for this year for the team? I would hope that he averages 6 innings a start and he keeps his ERA around 4.5. If he does that, he's at least serving a purpose.
He's helping you, and he's giving you innings that you could still win games in.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah. That's Kevin Wheeler. I'm Chris Ranji. We'll continue the Cardinals talk a little bit later on. John Rooney joins us at 12:30. But next, the Blues start the playoffs. Game 1 tomorrow in Winnipeg at 5 o'clock. We're going to talk to the chairman of the Blues, Tom Stillman, next on the Gashouse Gang.
Ernie Mickles here for my friends at Saliga Heating and Cooling, a St. Louis institution that has been serving St. Louis families since 1927. And this independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer has been taking care of the Mickles family for at least the last 15, 16 years. And I'm here to testify about their integrity, their prompt service, their professionalism, their knowledge, and the fact that when they come in your home, you're happy to see them because they're going to treat you and your home with class, and they're going to get the work done, and they're going to solve the problems. and they're not going to try to hustle or upsell you or talk you into something you're not sure about. We have found they'll actually give you cheaper solutions rather than trying to pitch a more expensive solution. That's why we love Saliga Heating and Cooling, and that's why we love this American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. If you want to get in touch with them, anything to do with your home or business heating and cooling, it's 314-481-7333, 314-481-7333, or visit them online at SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Or the joy of early bedtime? And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, it's Glover. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free. No limit. The savings don't stop there. Pay no interest until 2030, plus $500 off your home improvement project. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband. Are you thinking about upgrading your internet in your home? Probably a pretty good decision to do so if maybe you're with the cable company or you're with some of those big companies. i3 Broadband, it's amazing. They provide the home internet at my home. Super fast. They always mirror their upload and download speeds, which is a really big deal. You won't realize how much faster your internet can be. Plus, it's reliable. The customer service is great. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in at i3broadband.com.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Ben Barnett, board-certified master arborist and owner at Timberline Professional Tree Care. As a local small business owner for the past 24 years, I always do my best to shop local and support our community. Recently, 2 of the largest tree contractors in the region have sold to out-of-town investment groups. This means that the new owners of these companies are not invested in quality, customer satisfaction, or safety, except for how it affects their bottom line. Timberline Professional Tree Care was founded in 2001 and is focused solely on giving you, the customer, the safest, highest quality product while providing the best customer service before, during, and after the job. I've poured my heart and soul into tree care for the past 24 years, and we aren't going anywhere. When it comes time to take care of your trees, I ask that you shop local and call me, Ben Barnett, at Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or online at stltreecare.com.
This May, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is coming back to St. Louis. Join us at Energizer Park for the round of 32 as St. Louis City SC plays for this historic trophy. Get tickets now at stlcity.com/Open Cup.
News, talk, cars. 104.1 FM KMOX.
St. Louis Blues are back in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
FanDuel Sports Network, and yes, the Blues are in the playoffs again after a couple of years missing out. They needed to win that last game to make sure they got into the playoffs, and they did not leave it to chance. An absolute beating against Utah in their regular season game, the finale of the season with 6 goals scored. And now they go to Winnipeg, and they will take on the Jets tomorrow. The game is at 5 o'clock. I love saying game 1. Game 1 is at 5 o'clock because we're talking about a playoff series. So the Gashouse Gang today brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Let's go to the guest line and welcome in the chairman of the St. Louis Blues. Tom Stillman is with us on 104.1 FM KMOX. Tom, what's up?
What's up is we're back in the playoffs.
This has to feel great after missing out for the last couple of years.
Yeah, it does. It feels great. It's what we wanted to do. We are trying to do two difficult things at once, which is build our team and our prospect pool, and become a contender again, while at the same time staying competitive in parts so that we have a good atmosphere for those young players to learn in. So this is an important step.
So during your tenure, Tom, owning the team or being, the chairman of the team, you've obviously seen a little bit of it all, right? You've had the teams that are out there, best record in the league or near the top of the league. And then, of course, we've had a couple of the biggest turnarounds in hockey history. One of them wound up being a Stanley Cup win. This year, we'll save the predictions for when we're not asking you questions about it. But I got to believe that this one was a little bit scary earlier. But the finish for this team and the job they did under Jim Montgomery is it's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a really dramatic turnaround. One of the best stories around sports for the year, I would think, and it's a real tribute to Monty and the coaching staff, as well as the players and the leadership among the players, especially. And you have to look back at all the things that Doug Armstrong did in the off season and the early part of the regular season to put us in this position as well.
And also to make the decision to part ways with your head coach and to move on to a new one. It's rarely an easy decision for ownership, for general manager, the president of hockey operations, whoever, to make. And usually that takes a lot of time, but it seems like you did work proactively in this way. The organization did. Was it difficult to do that? Was it difficult to come to that decision?
The difficult part of it is that Drew Bannister is a good man and was doing a good job and learning and becoming a better NHL coach by the day, by the week. And it's a tough thing to say, well, we're making a change when it's not like he's doing a pretty good job. But our view of Jim Montgomery is that he is an elite coach, one of the top coaches in the game, and we our responsibility is to do the best thing for the franchise as a whole, the team as a whole. And we felt that was the right thing to do, and that we had to move quickly.
So, Tom, you mentioned earlier the kind of the dual track for the year, right? You're building long-term and trying to win in the short term, obviously accomplishing that by making the postseason. And, the way that it happened, I think, might be as important as, and I don't mean the strong finish, I just mean the players that wound up leading the way, right? Your young guys, Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, Dylan Holloway, those are your leading point producers on the season. You gotten lots of contributions from other young guys like Zach Bolduc and Jake Neighbors, and now we've got Snuggerud in the mix as well. I think that's got to be gratifying because it is accomplishing two things at once.
Yeah, it is getting those players into the mix, getting them experience, now getting them experience in the playoffs, which is invaluable. It's have them, growing up, if you will, in a winning atmosphere, a really positive culture. So, yeah, it is tremendous for them. But at the same time, you have to credit the veterans, and starting with Braden Shen and his leadership as captain, but Colton Parayko, Falk, Letty, others that are there and have been there who are helping to lead the way.
Tom Stillman is the chairman of the St. Louis Blues and is with us on KMOX. So we talked a lot about how this team has gotten to this point, and they were out of the playoff picture. It wasn't that long ago. And then they go on that unbelievable win streak. They break the record for a win streak, which happened the last time during the Stanley Cup run. I know that, we try not to get too over our skis when we see things like that happen, but is it difficult to look at that and not think about similarities to the 2019 team?
I just don't let myself.
Yeah. I get it.
It's a good move.
I get it.
It's just not, there's nothing to be to be gained there, especially by making statements about this is like 20. It's this is a different team, a team unto its own, and they're doing really strong things. They're showing a lot of grit and ability, and so let's let it be on its own.
One of the things I know from interacting with and talking to Blues fans for a long time, Tom, is one thing they really appreciate about you is that you're a fan. You were a fan before you were a part of ownership, and obviously you bring that to the job that you have. How is Tom Stillman the fan during playoff games? What's it like in the box? What's it like when you're traveling with the team, or when you're just sitting out there and in the middle of the action? What is your position?
I'm I wouldn't say I'm relaxed.
You have an image though to keep up.
It's not one of my hallmarks to begin with. So.
Yeah.
But I'm a little anxious before games. Kind of, I don't know if it's really butterflies. That's more of a player's thing. But you're anxious, you're fidgeting, and you get going, and you get a feel for how's this going to go. But the whole time it's it's a different level of anxiety from most regular season games. I mean, there are some regular season games that are so important that it almost gets there. But, when you start saying, like you guys said earlier, you're saying game one, we're in the playoffs. It is, there's something really special about that. And that gets everybody on their toes.
Does it feel the same? Being the chairman of this team now, to hear that your team is in the playoffs, does it feel just as good now as it did when you first took over?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's one of the milestones, that we're always working toward. And, it's not the end of what we want. But it's important every year. You got to appreciate when you make it. It's a big deal, and then you're part of the the playoffs, and waiting for game one, and going game to game in the series, and the flows, momentum, and all. It means just as much.
And like I'm a fan of all the major sports, Tom, and I grew up around hockey as a kid. I don't think there is anything. I know it's cliche amongst hockey people. I don't think there is anything like playoff hockey. There just isn't. Every sport is great in the playoffs. Game sevens are game sevens. Football games are one and done. So we all know there's pressure and there's difficulty, but there's just something about the intensity level of every game in a playoff series that I think is hard to replicate in other sports.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, stepping back before that, I don't think that there is another sport that is good live as hockey. It's just, once people see it, they're kind of taken aback and hooked. And, then within the hockey world, playoff hockey is another rung up. And then that live is really something because the intensity of the play, the lack of room on the ice, the reactions of the crowd, how much every little play, mistake, whatever means. So yeah, there's nothing quite like playoff hockey, and it's such a free flowing game.
Yes.
That there's so much on the line, and yet this isn't a people say set plays. They really aren't set. It flows this way. Everybody has to react in milliseconds to something else, an opening, something a defensive player does. So it's such a free flowing game, and then that combined with the anxiety and the concern that something bad could happen or great could happen at any time.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I was just talking about earlier how I felt all day before Game 7 in Boston, and I was ready to yak like all day. How did you feel?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually think the most anxious moment in 2019 was Game 7 of the Dallas series.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
that's pretty
yeah.
good. Yeah.
You remember after we dominated the game in the three periods, and then Dallas started coming on, and then Jamie Benn almost had a wrap. That was the hardest. for Game 7, it was kind of strange for me. Our whole family was together in Boston, and my youngest daughter, Anna, I guess, asked my wife, Mary, "Is Dad okay?" But it wasn't because he said, he seems so relaxed. Why? And I actually was, surprisingly so. And it was part because I had, talked to a few players at the morning skate at the practice before. I just saw their confidence. But it was also because by that time, that team had so established itself, it was going to play well.
Right.
Yeah. They were going to play well. They were going to play hard. We might not win, but they were going to play a heck of a game. And, that calms a lot of nerves.
Man,
when you trust a team like that.
You handled it better than me, and it's your team. How did you do that? All right, so are you going to go to win
that? On the road and at home all through the playoffs, and the trust you develop it does help calm you down.
Are you going to Winnipeg?
Yeah, a couple hours here.
Is there room on the plane and in the box?
For
me,
for Ranj.
Yeah, I don't care anybody else.
He's not ashamed to beg.
You better get there quick.
All right, I'll see you there. Tom Stillman, chairman of the Blues. Congrats on a fun season and good luck in the playoffs. We get started tomorrow at 5:00 in Winnipeg. We appreciate your time today and have a safe flight.
All right, thanks very much, guys.
Good luck, Tom. That's phenomenal. That's
awesome.
A great turnaround, man. Because I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't know about you. I was assured this team was done. 2 months ago, I was sure they were done.
Yeah, and then at the beginning of last week, or was it? Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah,
I'm like, they're totally in the playoffs. No need to worry about this. I didn't think it was going to come down to the last game.
Yep.
At any rate, they're in 5:00 tomorrow in Winnipeg, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Gashouse Gang continues with Kevin Wheeler and Chris Ranji. John Rooney is next.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Hey guys, it's Dave and Rachel from The Dave Glover Show.
So Smart Mouth is the only mouth rinse in the world that has a chemical reaction that makes sure that your bad breath is gone for 12 hours at a time, which means 24 hours a day, zero bad breath.
Yeah, all you have to do is rinse twice and you are covered for 24 hours. That means you never have bad breath. Plus, there's a product to fit whatever your needs are. To learn more, go to their website, smartmouth.com/Glover. And while you're there, you can get a coupon for $2.50 off.
It's cloudy and 78 degrees in St. Louis. The high is 79. There is rain all weekend and a flood watch in effect until Sunday night at 7.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Setting goals for retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, tune in to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All, Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX. You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
The easiest way to park on game day is to park with iParkit. iParkit has the best game day parking garages in St. Louis. iParkit has 2 convenient garages on Clark Avenue, located right next door on either side of the ballpark. The iParkit game day garages have multiple entry and exits to accommodate all fans, no matter where you're coming from or headed to after the game. Download the iParkit app and drive in and out using only your license plate. Use iParkit for convenience and peace of mind on game day.
Join KMOX broadcasting live from Chesterfield Valley Nursery, Saturday, April 26th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Take advantage of special offerings for Customer Appreciation Day. Saturday, the 26th at Chesterfield Valley Nursery, just east of the entertainment complex.
Now, the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX, sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
The 2-2 pitch. Grounded off King's glove. Fielded barehanded by Gorman, who throws out Vientos. 1-4-3. A nice barehand pickup after the ball went off King's webbing.
Cardinals baseball tonight, a 6:10 first pitch from New York, a 5:15 pregame show with Matt Pauley right here on 104.1 FM KMOX and the Odyssey app. Kevin Wheeler and Chris Ranji on the Gashouse Gang as we continue and we bring in the broadcast, the play-by-play voice of the Cardinals. John Rooney joins the show. What's up, John?
Chris, Kevin, good to be with you in New York, New York. It's what it is.
What's your routine when you get the chance to spend a few days in New York? Because you've obviously hit the road, throughout the course of your career. Do you have a like a spot that you like when you're doing things at Citi Field, or is it just like, because for me, when I'm on the road, John, I like to be just like, all right, I'm going to coop up in my hotel room and I just hang out till it's time to go to work.
It depends. It depends on what the schedule is, really, Kevin, because you might have a lot of late nights and want to catch up on the sleep. And things are a little more back to normal, though, in New York now. I've seen more families on the streets. Of course, it is the Easter weekend.
Good point.
But I've seen more families in New York than I can recall seeing going back to about 2019. And it's a little bit back to normal here. So it's fun to get out, walk around. There are a couple of stores I like to hit. I like the electronics the store Audio 46.
I was going to ask you if there was a tech store near there.
Yeah. You got it. I auditioned about 4 or 5 different open back headphones today and some in-ear monitors. And I bought a dongle that's an amplifier that I can plug into the iPhone.
I love a dongle. I have all kinds of dongles at my house.
Yeah, you got them. You got to have a good one. And so I can use the 4.4 connection or the 3.5 with the headphones. So it was a productive day.
Nice.
And kind of fun. And I had lunch at a nice Irish restaurant across the street and just got back here to the hotel, getting ready to head out for the bus here in about a half hour.
Nice. And then after the game, you're going to go to Tao nightclub.
We'll probably go back to an Irish bar somewhere.
There you go.
Have a Guinness or two and, toast the weekend.
You like Guinness?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like
Sometimes
Guinness.
I do. Yeah.
I'm sort of with it. All right. So the Cardinals, they dropped the first one of this series in New York. And New York's an interesting team to me just because of the amount of money they have invested over the years. And Steve Cohen has made sure that he doesn't miss an opportunity to pay out a big contract. You got Juan Soto on the team now. What do you make of what the Mets are?
Well, the Mets are banged up right now, too.
Yeah.
They have several injuries. They have a couple of pitchers that they're not quite close to getting back, even though picking up Canning. Canning did to us last night what he did last year in Anaheim. Had people off balance, and Ricky said it was just a matter of pitching backwards, throwing breaking balls and then fastballs up, produced a lot of strikeouts. Well, we have 11, 12 strikeouts last night.
Yeah.
That's un-Cardinal-like so far for this year.
Yeah.
But that's how good Canning was. And then their bullpen is spectacular. They probably have great balance in their pitching, even though they're without Manaea and Montas. So the Mets are what they are. They're a contender.
Yep.
They're definitely right there with the Phillies. I don't know if Atlanta is going to be able to climb back in there. They probably should because Strider's back and and they're getting a little bit healthier. But the Mets are close to getting Alvarez, their catcher, back. And Torrens, though, good catch and throw guy, and he's hitting well. What a good arm. So they're a good team, really good.
Yeah, I mean, it is a first-place team right now, and the Phillies are right there. I don't know what the deal is with the Braves. They got off to the bad start, but it still seems like they've got to be better than 5-13.
Eventually they will.
Yeah, I mean, they will be. But I don't know if they'll climb their way back up there because the Phillies and Mets are just such good teams.
They are good teams, but I still see the Braves working their way into a playoff position somewhere along the line. They're still the Braves, and there comes that mindset, and they are so used to winning. And while I've been asked many times, what are the Cardinals? And right now they're a pretty exciting team to watch. Last night they got handcuffed by a good pitcher, but we've seen that before where that happened, and the next day they responded very well, and they go up against a left-hander tonight. So JC will be in there, and Baker and the right-hand bats, and they just might take off tonight. They go at bat by at bat. And I'll tell you, Kevin, Chris, I like that so much. It's a great habit to get into early in the season where you don't care what the score is one way or the other, but you're going up there to produce a quality at bat, and you're giving yourself a chance to compete. And that's what they're doing. The only game they've really been out of is that second game of the doubleheader in Boston where the Red Sox scored 18.
Right.
Yet the Cardinals scored like 7. If you score 7 in a game, you should win most of those.
Yeah, and to go along with what you're saying, John, one of the characteristics that's important so far, and we all know, everything's 17 games, 18 games, 19 games, right? It's not a full season, but they're getting on base a lot, and it's not just Lars Nootbaar. I mean, Nolan Arenado's walking a lot. The team's on base percentage as a team,
it's the best in baseball right now.
Right, it's 342. So OBP is life, and I when you were talking about the Mets and what they're missing. Look, Ivan Herrera was their best hitter when he went down, and Mason Wynn is your number one shortstop. Like, I've been impressed that they've been able to do this and put up good offense, even with that and with Contreras struggling.
Well, if you really think about it, Kevin, when they signed these guys, they were pretty good to be signed to pro contracts. And I do agree, we have to find out if they can play or not. And we know they can compete, though. Yes, it's early, but I remember a season we had with the White Sox in 1990, where in the first 3-4 weeks of the season, the bullpen lined up. That team won 94 games. The only problem is the Oakland A's won 104. And they didn't have the wild card.
Right.
After Wilson Alvarez threw a no-hitter in Baltimore, then they lost like 8 or 9 in a row, and the A's just went streaking by them. But I saw a team that wasn't supposed to do anything at all really catch fire. Pretty good offense, but really good pitching out of the bullpen. The starting pitching then got better and better as the season came along, and the starting pitching on the homestand was really, really good. And last night, Palante had one bad inning, but when you don't hit, that one bad inning can beat you, and that's what happened in the game last night. But this is an exciting group to watch because they do go out and compete every day.
Yeah, and you mentioned that Sox team that had all those wins, and I was thinking about the year after you left and came to St. Louis. They finished with 90 wins, but the two teams in the division with them won 96 and 95. So when that happens, that was before the second wild card,
right.
Which, by the way, the second wild card, it seems like all these changes baseball has made, most of them over the last 10 to 15 years, the addition of that, the pitch clock, the DH in the National League, people pushed back against all of those things. But we all got very used to them. We got used to that second wild card and kind of like it now. Got used to the DH in the National League. The pitch clock has made the game move a whole lot quicker, and I think it's more enjoyable for people. So a lot of these baseball changes, John, have ended up working out pretty well.
That they have, but I still wish we had the pitchers batting in the National League. We had to use up and give up the DH the other day because of injury. And it was interesting making moves. You had to pinch hit then for the pitcher who could probably go another inning, but had gone 7. And the way it worked out, you could pinch hit and make some defensive changes with that spot and drop Ciani in there. And even though Ciani's starting to make pretty good contact right now in what limited at-bats he's receiving. But I do like the strategy involved in batting the pitcher and the moves that have to be made late in the game. and it just might take a good pitcher out of a game because of a close contest. But we have the DH, and I'm not going to bellyache about the fact we don't have the pitchers batting because it wouldn't do any good. And I've embraced having the DH in both leagues, and that's produced a little more offense, I guess, in the National League. But you could get a bunch of runs in the National League back when the pitchers were batting, and still probably play 10, 15 minutes less than the American League games.
John Rooney, you'll have the call of tonight's game.
And so will Ricky. Ricky will be there too.
Right. And
he rode the subway and he
Yeah.
made it to
did.
the park. I was so happy to see him.
Yeah, he was telling us about that yesterday. He didn't say there were any weird adventures, but he's also from 2 hours north. He's done it a few times.
Yeah, he's been there.
Yes, he has. He said he had to wash his hands 3 times though when he got off.
Well,
the subway.
yeah. And anything in public is gross. Don't touch anything in public ever. John Rooney will be listening tonight. The pregame at 5:15, 6:10 first pitch, Cardinals and Mets on KMOX. Thank you, John.
We look forward to it, and a happy Easter weekend to you guys, and we'll see if we can get some W's and head off to Atlanta.
I expect 3. I expect 3 before we talk again on Monday.
Well, why would you want any less?
Yeah, he's demanding.
Thank you, John.
Kind of a jerk sometimes. Happy Easter,
That's true.
John.
Thanks, John.
Bye-bye now.
John Rooney, play-by-play voice of the Cardinals on KMOX. Yep, he and Ricky Horton will have the call of tonight's game. 5:15 pregame, as I said, 6:10 first pitch. I got Kevin Wheeler with me. He is the host of the Redbird Rush Hour. Usually happens at 5 o'clock every late afternoon here on KMOX. But when Cardinals baseball gets in the way, no Kevin. So you get
So
Kevin
I got to
today.
come in here because I got to get it out.
Also part of the Dave Glover show. Yeah, you got to get it out here so you don't.
So I don't drive Dave crazy.
And somehow you'll still have another 6 hours left in you. I don't know how you do it. Kevin Wheeler, Chris Ranji on 104.1 FM. It's the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're from Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
Hi, I'm Amy Mark Scores. Are you dealing with knee pain? Maybe plantar fasciitis? I've got good news. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on insoles. You need Superfeet. Superfeet insoles come with high arches, low arches, or a more custom fit. I get the high arches. They cost $60. I've been wearing them for almost 20 years. Stop by any Fleet Feet location and they'll fit you up. St. Charles, Chesterfield, De Pere, South County, or O'Fallon, Missouri.
Spring is here. Time to have your valuable trees inspected by Gamma Tree to enhance the beauty and safety of your trees. I'm Tim Gamma.
I'm Tom Gamma. Don't trust your trees to just anyone. Call the pros at Gamma Tree. Now in our 71st year.
Our talented staff of certified arborists can survey your trees to determine their needs, whether pruning, fertilizing, pest control, or removals at the highest level of professionalism.
Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Call Gamma Tree today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds River's Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online at fairwindsriversedge.com. We hope to talk with you soon.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
I'm Cardinals outfielder Jordan Walker, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Kevin Wheeler, Chris Ranji on the Gashouse Gang, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. A few more moments to go before we get to the Dave Glover Show, where Kevin will remain right in that chair. I'm going to leave, though. But, Kevin, as we get ready for Cardinals baseball tonight with the 5:15 pregame on KMOX, Oliver Marmol, the manager of the team, joins the Gashouse Gang every Tuesday at 12 o'clock. I know you listen in to it, and Ollie is always very forthcoming with pretty much everything. You may not agree with what he says, you may not agree with his rationale, but he is willing to talk about just about anything, and we get him for a good half hour, sometimes even more than that. He said something about the construction of the roster, which it was interesting to me how he answered, because it was a little more honest than you typically get.
We don't have the luxury, and I'm just going to be extremely candid. We don't have the luxury of depth. Like, we have a couple arms down in AAA, but we don't have this plethora of arms that we can just draw from. So for us, in managing what we currently have in my position, and when I sit there with Dusty and Scalzo, we have to be really good about keeping the 26 that we have healthy. Because as soon as you start to draw from the McGreevy's and then past McGreevy, like, it starts to dwindle. And it's not a knock on anything other than, like, we have to keep our 26 healthy, and we got to keep the 13 pitchers that we have healthy. And the best way to do that is to not push them in April. If we had the luxury of go get another arm and we have this huge, then yeah, you can be a little bit more aggressive. But that's not the game. Like, we have to play a different game within our organization than some others.
So what I thought was striking about that is usually you don't hear a manager say, "Yeah, we don't have much depth. We're just not a very deep team," especially this early in the season. I was a little struck by that he was so honest about it. And guess what? He's not wrong. No. But usually what they'll say is, we have a lot of different options if we want to, and we need to, and we can move on from it. He's not wrong. It's just unusual to hear him be that honest about it.
And it's good to be that honest about it.
Or that a manager is that honest.
Yeah, I think it's good because, number one, we're at a time where fans have never had more information, right? Everybody knows who's at AAA, who's at AA. Prospects rankings are everywhere. The numbers are available everywhere. Everybody that's a diehard knows these things. And you're not fooling anybody by acting some way that, like, oh, we got all these guys. But he's explaining why. I think it was the question about the six-man rotation, right? It was about why the sixth man. And he's making a great point that you have 6 starters on this team, guys that are capable of starting games in the major leagues. And beyond McGreevy, who would be the 7th right now, it's thin and it's injuries, man. Quinn Matthews is on the injured list. We have no idea how long
He's got a
out.
shoulder thing,
got a
right?
shoulder.
Which scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, and we have no
I hate
idea
shoulder injuries.
how long he's going to be down. Tink Hens is on the injured list again.
Yep.
He's 22 and he's never thrown 100 innings in the minors. You can't count on him to start games for you this year. Cooper Jerpy's out with Tommy John. You'll see him in 2026. I think another one of their top young guys, a guy named Chenwei Lin, on the injured list. Brian Holiday, another one of their top prospects, on the injured list. So what it comes down to is McGreevy and Graceffo and Sem Robersa at AAA. Now, Sem is probably borderline major leaguer, right? He's not a big prospect. Graceffo has been, but he's got an 11.5 ERA at Memphis, and he came up here and he didn't look great. And some people think, Matt Pauley and I think the same thing on this, Ron, that we both think he's probably a reliever long-term. So, yeah, it explains why they're doing what they're doing, which is, I think, important. If you're a fan, and like people like you and me, we're not, just we don't have that inside information unless somebody gives it to us. So if I'm going to question what the team is doing, it's very helpful to know why they're doing it.
Right, because sometimes you watch a game. Just think of it on a micro level. You're watching a game. Why did they go to this guy instead of that guy?
Right.
Well, maybe the one you want to see is down for the day for whatever reason.
Yep.
Like it's not like a thing where they have to go to the IL. But it's like maybe just skip him for the day. But they're not gonna say ahead of time.
No,
hey, we're not gonna use this guy, and this guy out of the bullpen tonight. They're not going to announce.
No,
that.
Hey Mets, you don't have to worry about Maton tonight. Like they're not gonna give that away.
No. That's I think it's an important point. It's important to know that. And look, I don't agree with everything that Ollie says, but I will say this: I think he's really smart. I think he's a very smart baseball guy, and he probably doesn't get the credit he actually deserves, because whatever issues the Cardinals team has had over the last couple of seasons, it is by far a roster problem.
Yes.
It is not a manager problem.
Yeah.
Not in my opinion. It isn't. And most of the time, Kevin, when it comes to baseball, 90% of the time it's a roster issue and not a manager issue.
Sparky Anderson's a Hall of Fame manager, one of the best ever, and his line is, "The players make the manager. It's never the other way around."
That's right.
I mean, and look at Sparky Anderson. When he had the players for the Big Red Machine, how'd that go? They were great, right? They won the World Series, right? And when he was in Detroit, when they had the players in 1984, they won. What about when he didn't have those teams?
Joe Torre here.
Joe Torre is a perfect example.
And then going to New York, and what happened?
All of a sudden, you're amazing. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's the players first. Not to say managers matter. And there are clearly things that I think Ollie has like blind spots for, but I thought there were things that Mike Schild had blind spots for. Like every manager has
Everyone
something.
does.
And like, for example, I don't get why we need a defensive closer in the outfield. I don't understand that. I think it's a roster spot that could be used better, having a more versatile player.
I agree with you.
So we can look at that and say, I don't like what he's doing there. But what I like about what he's doing on this show is he's not asking you guys to be nice. He's going to take whatever questions anybody has, and he's taking questions on the chat. I love that. I forget who it was. Was it JD? He's like, "Oh man, I didn't realize I could see these. This guy's ripping me."
Yeah, no. Ollie can see your questions.
It's great.
We don't get to all of them, but we love him, and
Yeah,
he welcomes them. Yeah. That's why I think that's so great. I love that he does it. I love that he's a part of this thing. Again, it's every Tuesday. We have him at 12 o'clock, and he goes until at least 12:30.
And if you miss it live, go listen to it after the fact.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to learn something.
You can catch the Gashouse Gang, those episodes with Ollie or the rest of them through the week. We got Bernie Miklas on the show. Tom Ackerman is part of it. Claiborne, Kevin Wheeler, Matt Pauley is part of it as well. I mean, we're pretty sports heavy from 12 to 1 live on KMOX, but you can get the podcast later. YouTube, it'll be on Facebook. You can find it on the Odyssey app. Have it on your phone. So many ways to catch the Gashouse Gang. Kevin, thanks for hanging out with me for a bit.
Thanks for putting up with me. I appreciate it.
You got way too much energy, so I'm so glad Glover's coming in now. He could take you on now. All right, Kevin Wheeler and the Dave Glover Show. The rest of them coming in a moment. Anything you missed on the Odyssey app, it's the Gashouse Gang back with you at noon on Monday.
We can get more sleep. We can get more